Welcome to the first episode of the Behind the Scenes podcast. We're here with
Arlette,
Keyla,
Coach Medley,
and I'm your host, Mariah. In this podcast, we cover the insides of clubs and organizations in Deer Park High School. This episode, we will be covering our football team, so let's jump right to it.
So how long have you been a football coach, and when did you find your love for it?
I've been a football coach. This is my 8th year. As far as finding a love for it, I've always really enjoyed the game. I played it here and then tried to play a little bit in college. Then went in the business world, and not too long ago, about 8 years ago, I ended up coaching here in Deer Park. Oh. So I've always loved it, but found my way back to it a little later than most coaches.
Yeah. That's good. Went back to your roots.
Yep.
So what was your proudest moment while coaching?
There's a lot of them. I think as a coach, anytime you're teaching a player to do something and you rep it and you rep it and you rep it again and you finally see them do it at the moment they need to do it and everything comes together, I think those are all proud moments. So it's hard to just pick one. But I'd say just me coaching my guys and then seeing them do what they're coached to do.
Yeah.
Why do you organize your practice in a certain way?
You know, that all comes from the head coach and the coordinators, and they've been doing this a lot longer than I have and are true professionals in what they do. And they organize it kind of in the flow of the game or how the game goes. So we'll do meeting time. Usually let's back up. So Sundays the coaches meet and decide what we're going to run that week against the defense. I'm offensive staff. I coach the running backs. And then Monday we'll meet with the team, and then we'll meet individually with our position groups, go over the script, things like that. And depending on the amount of new plays to install, we'll have a walkthrough, all with trying to get the players comfortable with what we're going to do. And we'll do that on air. Then practice kind of starts after that. We'll have specialists, and then we will do our flexing, which is our team warm-up, and then we'll do the specialist of the day, which is part of kicking game. Then after that, we'll do individual work, play polish, which is quarterbacks, running backs, some receivers doing motion, things like that. We'll do team on air, which is kind of all out of what we're installing that week, more than a walkthrough. And then we'll do that with the team. So we'll put all the pieces together, and then we'll run it against a defense. And it's designed that way to give them practice reps, mental reps, then full reps without a defense. And then here's what we think you're going to see. So, but once we do that, 3 days in a row, and then the fourth day, kind of a walkthrough, all the questions should be answered as far as what you're going to do that day, because here's what we think you're going to see. And the coaching staff that we have is very, very talented. So more often than not, they're right.
So is that all into like one practice a day? Yeah,
and we do that really 3 days a week. The fourth day is more of a walkthrough, more detailed work on special situations we're going to see. And then Friday's the game. So like this week we have Pasadena short week, Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we really have to get after it. But yeah, that's every day. Every day we have individual meeting time where we watch film on the prior day's practice. Here's what we need to correct today. Here's what we want to see. Every day we get a new script. Here's what we like, what we didn't like. And just keep running them, trying to perfect them. So when we get to the game, we try to get the players to where they're not thinking, they're just reacting and trying to play fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's all crammed into like a couple hours.
Yeah. And the time is valuable to us. So every part of our practice, it's held to time. Like once the time's up, we move on to something else. Mm-hmm. And our whole practice is done that way.
Oh, wow.
So during a game, how do you know what play to run, and how do you know it would work?
So I know like our offensive coordinator during the week knows what he likes, and we have some input, but he's really, really good at what he does. And we start off with what we think is going to work, what we want to see and how they react to it. And then as the game goes on, he's asking for feedback. Okay, what did the D-line do here? What are y'all seeing? Coverage, things like that, because they're going to throw wrinkles at us that we aren't prepared for. But we can react to those, make some adjustments, and 9 times out of 10, he's right. He's really good at what he does. And we have coaches on staff that are really good at seeing things and speaking his language on what he wants to hear as far as what we think will work.
So how do you create your gameplays, the gameplays?
So, for instance, any given week, we get game film from our opponents.
Yeah.
Usually we'll look at anywhere from 4 to 6 games of their prior opponents, and we see what they've done that they were successful at. Does it fit our scheme? Can we change it to fit what we do personnel-wise, things like that? And the coaches break down parts of the film. Every coach has a job when we get the film, and there's probably 10 to 12 different categories we look at, and each coach is in charge of a number of those categories. And once all that's labeled and input, then we look at it and we try to find plays that we like based on what teams have had success against our opponent that we're playing that week. But it does get pretty complicated. And again, like our staff from OC Ben Barkema, Coach Barkema, Coach Hernser, Coach Hyatt receivers, Garney, Coach Seba, Coach Williams, even myself, everybody does a really good job of input. But it starts at the top. Even Coach Flynn will come in and say, hey, I'd like to see this week. What do y'all see? So it's all hands on deck, but again, like our coaches at the top are super talented.
So whenever it comes to your gameplays, y'all all come together and like.
We do. Our OC likes to know what we want to run. What do y'all see? Because we may think something different than he does, and he wants to know what we think, and he'll challenge us on that. And we need to be able to defend our answer on why we want to see something. And if he likes it, we run it. If he doesn't, then we'll shelf it. And maybe that play needs a little more work. But for the most part, I would say 60, 65, 70% of our offense is collaboration, and there's some things that he sees that he's just been doing this for so long that he already has an idea of what we're going to run.
What part of your games make you the most nervous?
This is going to sound funny, but like even as a player, I just wanted to hurry up and get to the game. Like the stuff before the game, like the meetings. I wouldn't say they make me nervous, but I'm not a patient person. I don't like waiting for the game to come. Even when we're out there and I'm warming my guys up, I'm like keep looking at the clock, and I'm like, I want it to be here right now. And I was that way as a player. Like I always felt like I didn't need to warm up. I could just go in right now. I was always ready.
So but you're ready to just like I'm ready, run onto the field.
Yeah, and I'm always looking at the clock, and some of the running backs are like that as well. They just want to like, hey, I'm ready right now. But we get out there and we've got an hour to go. So
that's good.
I wouldn't say nervous. It's just anxious to get it going because everybody's ready.
Well, that's a good like aspect to have. Like your motivation. It's just like ready to go.
Oh yeah,
and then that's how you play good.
Yeah.
So obviously, I think as you said, on Sundays all the coaches get together. So during those meetings, if you were ever to disagree with another coach, how would you resolve that?
There's not. There could be disagreements on whether we like a play or not, and you just kind of talk it through. On hey, I like it for this reason. You don't like it for that reason, and a lot of times there's a clear answer, and it's not really. You're going to disagree, but it's not an argument or anything like that. We have just a really good staff, and everybody gets along and respects each other. So input, when you hear it from somebody that you respect, you kind of take it and try to see their side of things. But there's not a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
far as disagreement.
So what is the difference between coaching a varsity team and a junior high team?
A junior high team, that's funny you asked me that because I did coach a junior high team. I started at Fairmont and I was there for 2 years. Just the number of players, first of all.
Yeah.
At high school, we get players from all the junior highs. So when I was at Fairmont, it was only those players. So it's like, okay, what can we run with what we have? So you're very limited time-wise. We practice in the afternoons there, and you have till you can't see anymore sometimes because there's no lights, right? So that and the amount of coaches you have, so you don't have a position coach for everyone. Mm-hmm. So the coaches there need to hopefully have a lot of knowledge on various positions so that they can coach all aspects of it. So I would say, the number of players, the number of coaches, and what you can run to be successful, because you have very limited time to rep things and to get good at it. So you'll find that the junior highs that have had coaches in place for a while and know what they like to run do have a lot of success because they know what they're coaching. They've been doing it for a while. The teams of junior highs that have new coaches and are still trying to figure it out may struggle a little bit until they get accustomed to what they like to run and things like that. So I'd say that's the biggest difference. It's time, number of coaches, and the number of players.
So what have you liked more, Fairmont or the high school?
Oh, the high school by far. It's more serious. I like that aspect of it. I've learned a lot, still got a lot to learn, but it is fun up here. We have a great group of guys, and it starts with Coach Flynn and our coordinators and the offensive staff I'm on. It's just fantastic.
And so what do you really look for in your players?
One, you want them to be talented, right? Because at the end of the day, our job is to coach to win these games. But past that, you want a willingness to be coached. You want somebody that is high effort, kind of dedicated. They want to get better. They have a drive. And as long as they have those things, even if they don't play running back a lot, they can find a home on special teams and some other things. So as long as they work hard, they're dedicated, the desire to learn, we can find a place for them in the program. And it may not be the position that they want to play or they want to play, like one running back. Most of the time we have one on the field at a time. So what can the other guy do if he's one of our best 22 players in the program? How can we get him on the field? Mm-hmm. And our coaches are really good at that. But that's what we look for, coaches. Kids that can do what we ask them to do and want to do it at a high level and are eager to do that.
So obviously, as you said, you're supposed to coach them and train them and all that stuff. But besides that, how would you build a relationship between you and your players?
I'll just speak for me, but I talk to all my players all the time. I communicate with them all the time. I'm honest with them. Let them know, hey, here's what we need to see today. And if they don't do it, I'm honest with them, because that's as a player, as a person, you just want somebody that they know I want them to be the best that they can be. Yeah. Right? That's clear. So they trust that when I tell them something, that it's true. And I would say that's the same for all the coaches on our staff. And I don't know if it's like that everywhere. I've only coached here. I hope it is like that everywhere, but I doubt it is.
Yeah.
We have a great staff, and building relationships with the players, you have to have that. And I'm not as talented as some of the guys on our staff as far as X's and O's, because they've been doing it a long time. But I would say I would be top 1 or 2 on our staff as far as building relationships. And every coach has their role. Every coach has their role in the program as far as what they coach, what they're good at, and what they're not. And Coach Flynn does a really good job of putting those coaches where their strengths are. And, I would say building relationships is definitely one of my strengths.
That's good.
What has been the biggest struggle this season?
Biggest struggle? That's a good question. Everybody, on staff and even the players know that we have a really, really good team this year. And the kids are bought in and things like that. And last week, we lost to Dobie. And that was our first district game. And it was a tough loss, right? Because it could have implications on who we play in the first round of the playoffs and things like that. So I would think some of the team and the coaches, we looked at that game as, hey, this could have district implications as far as, hey, we need to win this game to win district. So when you lose a game like that, it's okay. Can you internally look at what you need to get better at as a coach? Let's look at the details. What happened? And then the players, can they do that as well? So I wouldn't say that's been the struggle, but that started a process of, okay, let's hit the reset button because we still have a lot to play for. And now let's look at everything a little tighter through a little better lens and keep getting better so that we can win the ultimate goal, which would be winning a first-round playoff game. And then let's see what happens after that. And I think this loss has the potential to make us even better than what we would have been because we're going to see some things that we need to get better at. So that's been the biggest challenge so far. And we hit it early, so it's fine. We can still recover from it. And I think I know our coaching staff is good enough, and I know our players are good enough to take the coaching and take another step towards our ultimate goal.
So besides the biggest struggle, what has been the best part of the season so far?
Best part of the season so far? I would say different guys stepping up. Every year you go into a season and you're like, okay, here's what we think this player is going to do. And you have a really good idea because some of them played before, but some of them haven't. You hope they're what you thought they were. And when they are, it makes you really happy for them because they're able to meet some of their personal goals they have as far as being a contributor, things like that. So I would say that, just seeing guys doing what they're capable of.
Well, that's all we have for you, Coach.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate y'all's time.
Now that we have spoken with Coach Medley on a coach's perspective, we will be sitting down and speaking with Cal Coulter and Reed Mallett on a player's perspective.
So lay out a typical day at practice for y'all.
So a typical day, it starts off, I'll speak for the offensive side. We come into practice, depending on if we add new plays or install, we'll do a walkthrough. And then after that, there's this thing called specialists where we can go special teams. The O-line, we'll go to our corner. Coach Williams will usually have the center getting snapped, getting warmed up, and then you'll have drills for everybody else. And then after we go off the script then we'll go team versus scouts. So the scout or the JV team will run the opposing team's defense while we run plays against run our plays that we'll probably run against the team of the week, whoever we're playing. And that's how it really goes. And we do more drills during individual times. And, yeah, that's how offense really does it for practice.
I can speak for defense. So normally, Cal didn't mention it, but every Monday, Wednesday, and then usually Friday if we don't have a game, we work out before practice. So we get a lift in, and then we go to team meeting. Then we go to our individual meetings. So for defense, it's a lot more film-based. I know y'all watch a lot of film too, but all we do, Monday is our install day, right? So we install our defense, what we're going to do, the fronts we're going to do, the coverages we're going to have all Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday is kind of our get really good at it. And then Thursday is our kind of make sure everything's crisp and clean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So knowing y'all have a lot going on with y'all's practices and y'all's games, how do y'all manage that with your schoolwork? And do either y'all have jobs or outside of school?
I can speak. I work for Deer Park, kind of. I'm a avid tutor, so that's the only thing I can really do right now because of the time it takes up, right? Mm-hmm. But I think just staying on top of your stuff. I think what's helped me is having a to-do list. I mean, that sounds kind of corny, but it's true. having what you need to do, and then just going down the list and saying, okay, I need to get this done before practice. I need to get this done after practice so I can stay on top of my grades and all my schoolwork.
I can speak of myself on Wednesdays. I really don't have a job, but on Wednesdays I'm part of the student leadership program at my church, at Grace Church. So I got to get there as soon as possible. So what I do on Wednesdays, I just try to before I leave the house, I get a pair of clothes. So after practice, I can rush to the locker room, shower, then go home. Or not go home, go to the church. But to make sure I don't have any homework, so I get back late, I try to get a lot of my work done during school, because I feel like there's a lot of time during school, but students don't really take advantage of it. So I try to get as much work as I can, so I have very little to do when I get home. And I could be on a Monday, Tuesday, every day, just try to get as much work as I can. So when I get home, I have time to hang out with family. And then if I do have homework, study, get that done. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm very guilty of not taking advantage of that time that's during school. So
do y'all have any rituals or workouts that you do before a game that you feel you need to do?
The one thing I try to do before games, before I get my pads on to go out the warm up, because we have certain times we have to warm up at, I go to the other locker rooms. We have the JV locker room, and I just play worship music. I want to have a time that I can worship and give praise and thanks to Jesus, because he has done so many great things in my life. And no matter that we're about to go play a game and the emotion is high, every time I play worship music, I give him that time. I feel relaxed, so I always try to make sure I do that before a game.
Amen.
I can speak for me. I like locking in with music. I'm not going to be all this hype before a game. I like to lock in, like he said, whether that's going to the JV locker room or that's just putting your headphones in your locker. And I'm kind of what do I feel today? So the other day before our game, I was listening to Christmas music. And it was awesome. For the team though, I know we come out, and right before we run out of tunnel, we do a prayer. I like that. Mm-hmm. I really like that. It just kind of locks us all in, gets us focused.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
So Christmas music,
yeah.
It's Halloween time right now.
I don't like Halloween.
October 3rd.
So I know y'all have a lot of gameplays. How do y'all memorize that?
You want to go first? You have a lot more than me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of basic stuff that we remember from freshman year, but I feel that we just the more repetitions you get during practice, the more reps you get. It just becomes it's a natural habit to you. But when we do new install, we take time to out of film, we'll stop and go, okay, so you're probably going to see this front. It could be a 4-man front. The backers could be walkout. So how are we going to run this new play to this front? So we'll draw it on the board. And before the walkthroughs I talked about with Coach Barkema, we'll just go into our corner, and Coach Williams will set up that defense that we're probably going to get this front because the tight end's on this side. So then he'll come in and quiz us hey, what do you do now? And then we'll talk about it, and then we'll run it a couple of times, and then it just becomes into your brain. So just a lot of reps.
For defense, I'll speak to the defense. For defense, it's more not of knowing what to do. It is knowing what to do, but it's also reading and reacting. It's a lot of what it is. So you do your film study, you do all this stuff in individual meetings, and you know it. But I think the most important thing for defense is experience, game experience, game rep experience. When the bullets are flying, when they're going fast, can you do what you need to do in an effective manner? I think it just comes from experience.
Oh wow.
So what game of the season and what part of a game makes you the most nervous?
The most nervous, it was probably LaPorte for me, because it was going to be my first game starting on varsity, and I was just so nervous because going down the halls, people were like, hey, you know how we feel about LaPorte? Y'all go get him. I'm like, oh, this is a big rivalry. But after the first couple of snaps, I got used to the speed, and I just trust that the work that we put in all offseason will pay off, and it did pay off, and it was a really fun game for us.
Yeah, I agree. I think the LaPorte game was big just because you have the whatchamacallit? What do you call it, Kyle? The
fans?
The thing we
The
do in
rivalry?
school. Yeah, the rivalry.
the pep rally.
The pep rally. I can't think of the pep rally. The pep rally. Everybody's hype, and I don't know how many people we hold, but it's probably 10,000 maybe at our stadium. So everybody's there. It's packed out. It's a big game, a big rivalry, right? But for me, if I can get past the first play of the game, I'm perfectly fine. Yeah. But leading up to that first game, I'm like, oh gosh, I got the butterflies in my stomach. You know what I mean?
Well, we did win the Laporte game this year, right?
Absolutely, yeah. What was the score count? Do you remember?
It was like, I know we put 40 up on offense.
Yeah.
It was like, was it 40 to like 21 or something? No.
I think it was 40-21, 40-14, something like that.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't remember.
Good job. Good job.
What part of the game, what part of like y'all's games make you the most nervous though?
Oh gosh. The first of it. I think as soon as you can like settle in and be like, okay, like you're good, I think you can settle in and find your tempo. But there, like the first play, that's my thing. The first play. If I can get past the first play, I'm cool as cucumber.
Probably definitely the first play because as an O-line, we try to be the most physical unit in the district or like in Texas. So like our goal is like let's come off the ball really hard. So like, but when you do that, you can forget, okay, what steps I'm supposed to take, how the angle to the linebacker. So like you're trying to also like keep that in. So like I'm nervous, like, oh, if I do come out too hard, I'm probably gonna miss the guy right in front of me, or if I take too big of a step, he's gonna play right across. So like just as the different situations, but we just trust the game plan the coaches give us, and we came off the ball really hard against Laporte, and it paid off. So it was good.
I was gonna say, Kyle, I think I know what you're talking about. Like just saying, forget worrying about all this stuff. Let's trust our coaches. Let's trust the teaching that we had, the good preparation of the week, and let's just go out there and play. Yeah. Let's have fun.
That's so good. So I know, unfortunately, the last week we did have our first loss. So during a loss, how do you keep yourself and your teammates motivated?
The one thing, so it was a tough loss. I'm gonna be honest. It took me the whole weekend to get it like this swallow. But the one thing I did over the weekend, I texted teammates like checking in on them, and then just talking to them like, hey, it's gonna happen. But now we know that, okay, what did we do that we can get better? Just learning from the loss. And the one thing that we try to do, like there's a lot of senior leaders. I feel like we're a really good lead team. So for example, I texted Terry. I was like, hey man, I know it was a tough loss, but let's come into school the next day on Monday, head up, shoulders back, like with some confidence, like with a good attitude. So maybe because that will like feed off to the other players to go, yeah, let's just move on, man. Let's just learn from it, get ready for the next week. So
yeah, I agree. I think after a loss like that, it was hard to hang your hat on, and it took us all a good chunk to get over it. But I think the only thing you can do is come back the next week and work even harder. Come back, just keep going, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely Thursday, we're winning this game.
I cannot guarantee anything, but
I'm just gonna say I feel like people are like, we're ready to take our anger out on somebody, so yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah, that's similar to what Coach Medley was saying when we asked him a similar question. He just said that he hopes that y'all bounce back and become better. Like,
especially because it's like now you still have time to go ahead and I guess like redeem yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then it gets you, what's the word? More like pumped to get you for the game.
Especially we had that bye week right after too, so like we had like we're ready to go.
You had even more time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is one of y'all's weaknesses, and how do you work on that during practice or a game?
One of our weaknesses, well, it depends on the team, right? So like if we're playing a North Shore Tascasita, they like to throw the ball around a lot more as opposed to Pasadena. They run the ball 80% of the time. So really it just depends on what the team we're playing, like whatever week it is. We see the scout, we see whatever it is, and then we kind of judge what we do in practice off of that, whatever it might be. If they throw the ball around a lot or they're heavy run, or we kind of cater our practices towards that.
Yeah, the one thing for like, it's not like, it's a little bit of a weakness as an offensive line that we're trying to get better at our eyes placement, because there's a lot of times in the previous weeks that we got away with it a little bit, that our eyes were down. We were too much into a block and we missed the linebacker play across. So this whole week is just eye placement. And the good thing about Pasadena, they're mostly a four-man front, so they don't really move the linebackers a lot, so that should help us get our eyes up so we can know. But we're trying to work on that, so that's the thing Coach Williams has just been preaching this week, just eye discipline. So during practice, he'll like move the scout team linebackers to go, like we'll not see, so go point at them and tell them to go this way. So we make sure I have our eyes up, and like, and if we don't, he'll stop it. Go, hey, so where were your eyes? Oh, they're in the block. No, you gotta get them up. So like we just practice our eye discipline. So that's probably the one of the weaknesses.
Oh wow, That's actually very interesting. Your eyes?
That's a big thing on defense too. Our defensive backs, if they get, you say people get burnt, people get just ran by. It's not that. It's your eye placement. It's your eye discipline. That's what people don't realize. I think about football is it's a lot of eyes and mental side of it, not just can I go hit somebody as hard as I can.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that.
I did
myself.
not know that.
I dance for the escorts, and I was just like, every time we go to a game, like I watch and I'm like, oh, they're going to run the ball. They're going to hit him as hard as they can. That's all I think about. I don't know. But
Interesting.
for real. So being on this team, what has it taught you about being a good teammate and being a better player?
I feel like the one thing being on this team taught me how to be like a good teammate is like working with other people, because you can also just take that to like into the real world when you have a job that you're gonna work with people that they may be they might be better you at this and you could be better at that, so like you like work together as one. That's actually one of our mottos for at the offensive line. We are one. If someone messes up, we all mess up. So we learn how to work with each other, and you can just take that to the real world. And that's the thing coaches like been talking to us since like our freshman year. There's a lot of things in football that you can take into the real world, and that's the one thing I really been took is just working with teammates.
I think football has taught me just personally about like the importance of brotherhood, and it's kind of like just like a family. That's what we do. We break down on family every time, and it just reminds us, hey, we're in this together. Yeah. You're only as strong as your weakest link, kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like it.
That is so good, y'all. That's a great aspect to have as like coming together as a family and not as just like your individual people, you know?
Yep.
I think that's a good lesson that a lot of people get from sports or like other clubs. Like you learn how to interact with other people more, and like if someone's better at you or someone's not as good as you, learn how to uplift them or be better as yourself. Like you can become a better person, like being around a lot more people.
It like matures your brain to think like a certain way.
Yeah.
And I feel like football teaches you how to deal with adversity. Sorry,
Yes.
adversity, and that's just. I think it's one of the best things about football. Whatever's happening, you gotta come together as a family, as a team, and persevere.
Yeah. Also, like during adversity, you can really tell who's going to be your leader, who's going to really step up, who's going to be the person to go in and say, "Hey, we're fine, guys. Let's just get our head back up. Let's go keep playing. Just don't let the adversity, hit you. Let's go hit adversity as hard as we can."
Absolutely.
So what makes y'all a great athlete?
Like personally speaking, both of y'all, what makes each of you a great athlete?
I think what makes us both great athletes is our preparation. I think I can speak for Kyle. Preparation, film study, and then in the game, it comes natural because we know what we're doing and we can play fast. We don't have to think about, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be there? It's natural to me because I've been doing it all week in practice. Let's just stop thinking and play.
Yeah. Also, I feel like the one thing that is definitely for both of us is like a work ethic, because I don't know when it was. It was there in the summer. I remember I heard you were talking to your dad, and it's like after practice, and you go, all right, let's go get some hits off the tee. You're like, oh yeah, let's go. The work ethic you got to put in, and I know you have a really good work ethic where you play a lot of sports here at Deer Park. So work ethic is like a big thing too that helps us make us great.
Absolutely.
So has there been a player or a coach that has made an impact on you, and who was it?
Kyle, you want to lead this one off?
Yeah, I'll lead this one off. I got two coaches actually. The first one was Coach Medley. So during my freshman year, you can tell Reek can answer this. I was very skinny. I was so undersized. I was like 135 playing offensive line, and that was not big enough. And to the point where I was like, do I really want to keep playing football after my freshman year? I'm not big enough. What's the point? Until Coach Medley came up to me in world history like, hey, you can, I see something. Like, if you can put on this much weight for your sophomore year and hit the weight room, you can be pretty good. So, I did that. He pushed me, and he helped me build a really good work ethic. I wanted to reach those goals, but I wanted to go over the top on those goals. Then the other coach was Coach Williams. He gave me so many opportunities. I'm just so grateful for him, because he could have saw me and go, oh, he's too undersized. Just keep him to the side. But he believed in me. He gave me so much opportunities to do really good, and I'm just really grateful for those coaches.
You talked about the coaches. I'll talk about some players. Y'all might know him, Dino Demetrio. He graduated last year, captain linebacker. he was a real big help, just because he brought so much energy and enthusiasm to the game. And when I'm out there, I'm like, oh, it's hot out here. It's 100 degrees. It's hot. It's hard. Practice is hard. I'm thinking, oh, what would Dino be doing right now? Let's talk about that. He'd be jumping around. He'd be getting the guys excited. He'd be just his love for the game. Just is it helps me. Yeah, go through practice.
Yeah, you actually remind me. I had a player in mind too. I was gonna say, he graduated last year too. Wiley Seals. Man, he's just a great guy. I remember he heard I was going to the field and he invited me to go work with him. And since that day, we were at the field 24/7 after practice. He's just there. He coached me up. He made me really good, and I pushed him to get better. And we worked all the way till the summer until he had to leave for Oklahoma State. And I really miss that guy. He was a really great friend of mine.
I love players like that. Like, they want to see their peers get better as well as themselves. They strive for everybody to be successful because they want the team to be better.
Absolutely. So what I've learned from y'all today is that y'all have like a really good brotherhood, and I actually really like that because, like she said, getting players to work together and rather than just, okay, well, it's your problem, go on your own. Like, that brotherhood that y'all have is actually really well.
I feel like that's something that makes a team stronger and stand out from other teams.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on your coaches?
About the coaches, man, they're just great coaches. Like, during the week, they give you a great game plan, then they give you the great, like, good drills to perfect the game plan, and they're just really just great coaches, and they just trust us. They don't really look at a game plan and go, oh, I don't think he can do this. No, they go, hey, we trust you that you can do this block. We trust you can reach this person. Like, they trust us a lot.
I think, as an outsider, people don't understand how much coaches put into it. I think our coaches do so much. You think a football player works hard? Twice as hard a coach works. Mm-hmm. Hours upon hours of watching film, putting a plan together for us to succeed on Friday night. I just think we just owe them so much because they put so much dedication and heart into this game, and they can't even play it anymore. You know what I mean? It's just the love of the game.
Yeah. And they're also just not great coaches. They're great people, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard for them. They put so much work into us. They have no time to really see their family. But when they do, they make a lot of time with their family. So they're just really great people, too. So
I also really love that y'all look so highly up on y'all's coaches. It's so cool. I know I have Coach Medley for Deer Time, and he watches film during Deer Time. And, like, he'll be writing stuff on his notepad and something. Like, I don't know. I like the fact that y'all look up highly on y'all's coaches.
Absolutely. They're the best.
They are the best.
And I think as an outsider, like, we don't really see that because all we see is them sitting on the sideline or, like, standing there during practice. Like, we really don't know everything that goes into it. We just see the outcome.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're watching the football game and you think that, someone does good, quarterback makes a really good play, think about twice as hard the coaches are working.
Yeah.
Way harder.
Yeah. That's so true.
Yeah, talking to Coach Medley yesterday, it was like we learned a lot about how much they actually put into it, and we just thought it was very interesting.
Absolutely.
So what has been the biggest struggle this season?
The biggest struggle is probably, do not want to bring it up, but it had to be that Dobie loss because it was just really tough for us that we lost by 3 points. It was really tough, but I feel like as a team, we are mentally moved on from it. We are ready for Pasadena. We are locked on, focused for Pasadena. So I thought that was a struggle.
Absolutely. I can attest that was probably the biggest challenge, adversity we faced this year. But I liked what one of our coaches said after it. He said, it can either define you or it can refine you. You know what I mean? It can either be the turning point in your season where, we needed that loss to kind of humble us, kind of make us better. Or it could be, well, we lost. I guess that's the end of the season. So,
yeah.
And I think we've turned it to a good thing and a great thing. And I think it's made us better, actually. I'm grateful for the loss.
Yeah, we need that. We needed that loss to just show that there's still things we can improve on as a team. So
kind of check us, right?
Yeah.
What has been the best part of this season?
Okay, I'll take this one, Kyle. Best part of the season, it's got to be the home win against LaPorte, huh, Kyle?
Yeah, that had to be the really best part of the season. It was just so hype. Yeah. But like one of my favorite parts or the best part of the season, it's not even a moment. It's just like I gotta give shout out to my O-line group, man. Just like we came into the off season with a lot of question marks, like, well, who's gonna fill this spot? And even though we were competing against each other, we still have love for one each other. We're still brothers. It's just like the O-line room it's just great energy. Like I look forward to our meetings because like there's just so many great people in there. So like they'll always be my brothers. I just love the O-line group. I had to give them a shout out.
Absolutely, the LB group too. Shout out LB group.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we have. That's all we have for y'all. And thank y'all so much for joining us today. And thank you for everyone who's listening. Tune in next time to hear more about our unseen heroes in our school.
This has been Arlette
And Kyle.
And Reed.
And your host, Mariah, signing off.